What's up YouTube, it's your boy French Cooking. Welcome back to the channel, and this is how to make beats for free, episode number 27. Ouch. Today's free VST is called the Basshead Mini by AngelicVibes. The Basshead Mini has 7 808 presets and 8 bass presets, so it's a simple plugin, but it's an effective one. Now I know what you're thinking. Why do I need to download an 808 VST if I have plenty of high quality 808s and bass one-shots? That's a good question. That's a good question that I just asked you to ask me. I'm doing a Robert De Niro impression, you just can't tell under my mask. I can think of a couple of reasons. The first reason is that you have sound design features right there built into the plugin. Most VSTs will have at the very least ASDR, and some will also have other ones like reverb, saturation, etc. It is much more convenient to be able to shape the sound on the fly rather than, implement some kind of like complicated effects chain. If you follow any like dubstep or EDM producers or anything like that, often they'll use a bass VST like Serum or 808 Cooker, for example, because they need to be able to tune the bass accordingly since it's the main element of their beat. The second thing is, depending on the one shot that you select, sometimes pitching up too far up in the piano roll or too far down in the piano roll will degrade the sound. Maybe that's just an MPC Beats thing, or even maybe it's just a me thing, but I've definitely noticed that in the past. That being said, for the beat that I'm about to make today, I don't just want to use one 808 from this VST and call it a day. I think instead I'm going to try to layer a couple of bass sounds together to get the most out of this VST. So I'm going to use the song Sports Car by Tate Mcrae as my inspiration, which I only just heard a couple days ago in my car while I was stuck in traffic, contemplating whether I should drive off a bridge and live underwater for the rest of my life like SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, I've loaded my drum sounds into MPC Beats, and I'm going to start there because the drums are going to be the foundation of this beat. And I'm going to show you a lot more of my drum making process than I usually do. First thing I'm going to do is lay down my kick, and I'm going to leave a lot of space in my kick pattern because there's a lot of drum sounds to incorporate into this beat. And I'm also going to layer my kick with the Holla Back Girl stomp. Few times been around, sorry. Okay, so literally gonna put one on each bar. And I'm gonna put one here, but I'm gonna lower the velocity. Do the same thing here. And for the end of the fourth bar, I'm just gonna go bonk, bonk, like a typical West Coast drum pattern. This kick that I selected, it already has a high attack, but I'm really going to need it to punch through the melody since I'm going to be layering 2 basses on top of this. So I'm using this transient shaper by Kilohertz in order to achieve that. The transient is the attack or the very beginning of the waveform. So for example, when you're chopping up a beat, often you look for your transients to figure out where your kicks are or where the bar starts or whatever. So in this case, I just set it to the kick attack preset in this plugin, and I also selected clip so that it clips at 0 dB. Now I have a snare and a clap that I just layered together and added on the 2 and the 4 of every bar. One thing to notice, however, is that I did put the clap slightly off beat. Next, I added in some tom drums. So I have this one shot, another one shot, which sounds quite different. And I also have a drum fill one. Next, I added a couple snares. So I have this one here and then this one. And for these snares, I added just a little bit of reverb to both to make them kind of blend into the background. Next thing is that I added another different stomp to fill in some of that empty space, and also a triangle. Now, if you notice, the triangle, it's not a one-shot. All these drum sounds are one-shots, except I changed the triangle to note on, And that helps me dictate how or when the sound's going to stop. Next, for the hi-hat, you might be thinking, what the hell kind of a pattern is that? That looks like ass. And you would be correct. This is what it sounds like just normally. It's just boring. But here's a little bit of sauce for you guys. Throw some delay on there, turn down the feedback, turn down the mix a little bit, and you'll have a little bit like of a shaker effect with your hi-hats. Oh, and if you also enable the bounce button, the delay is going to bounce from ear to ear. Way saucier, and this is what it sounds like with all the other drums. To round it all out, I just added an open hat and a cymbal all the way up here. And voila, finished product for the drums. Finally, we can move on to our bass. So I can't even see that. Oh, it's up here. 808 22 preset selected in Basshead Mini. I really wish it was a little bit darker, but that's okay. Actually, when you press a key, his eyes glow, and that's pretty sick. So let's try to lay down a sub bass pattern. Something like that. Now to layer on top of the sub bass, I have another bass pulled up. This is the Bass 09 preset in the same plugin, obviously. And I'm up one octave to differentiate a little bit from the sub, but we can take it a little bit further than that. So this is what it sounds like normally, right? But I want it to be a little bit grittier, have a little bit more high end in it. So I'm gonna widen it. And I also added this distortion plugin called Spaz. And I've selected the monster preset. Turn the knob just below 50% because I'm not trying to go too crazy. And this is what the sound is like now. It's like almost sinister even, and it's going to give this beat like a lot of flavor, and I think it's going to sound pretty good. I found this ethnic sounding flute in my Flute loops. Flute loops. Sounds like it's part of a balanced breakfast, but nothing fancy, just gonna add it in as is, except I duplicated it up to this pad and I pulled it up one semitone. Y'all know I love my strings, so let's get some string action in this beat. I have SINE Player pulled up with the Berlin Free Orchestra pack, and then the string ensemble preset. I should be able to say that, it's a French word. Okay, this is the pattern I ended up with. To make it sound more full, all I did was duplicate the exact same notes down one octave, and then again, one more time, up one octave. I personally like layering my strings, so I pulled up an instance of monster strings. I'm definitely going to make a video about this plugin as well because it's pretty dope. But I have the Istanbul strings preset pulled up, which is perfect. But I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm just going to add it on certain notes that I want to emphasize. Kind of starting to lean into the ethnic side of this beat. So I pulled up another instance of SINE Player, and I've selected the Flute preset in the Berlin Free Orchestra again. And I just tested out a quick pattern to see how it would sound, and I kind of like it, so I think I'm going to leave it in. I realized that's pretty subtle, so I layered a bell on top of that exact same pattern, and I also put pancake on both of them. So both at the same time are gonna pan to the left and to the right, but only at 50%. Way better. That'll do it for today. I always underestimate how hot it gets under this mask, but I'm gonna arrange this beat and I'm gonna play it at the end of the video, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see all y'all next week for another video, but until then, keep producing, baby.